Good morning, everybody. How are you? How are you?
Sorry, I'm just needing binoculars because the size of Nadia's ego since her rant is insurmountable.
Mark said to me the other night, because do you think this will change you? So many people watching your
I
rant.
have noticed a change.
But he is being people will take this seriously.
Oh,
Mark,
right.
be careful.
I have
you
noticed
can't
a
joke
change.
like that in this world.
I genuinely think
I genuinely
think you are now, as I said earlier, you're an influencer, but you're changing regimes.
Hello, everybody. Nice to see you. How are you all doing? Welcome here if this is your very first time with us.
Morning, everyone.
Are we very low? Do we need to turn it down? Hello, Faith. Hello, Sophie. Hello, Sarah. I feel like we haven't seen you guys for ages.
Gabrielle,
Morning, Bobby.
I am feeling a tad better. I felt really shaky last night.
Much better than you were.
I mean,
God,
yesterday was absolutely diabolical.
Oh, look, there's another Nadia. Nadia City.
Ooh.
Welcome, Nadia. Guys, if you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. It doesn't cost you anything, and it means you'll know when we're live.
Thank you, Skylix. I do feel better. So can we just given that we're coming out of food poisoning before we get going, has anyone else had the old oyster food poisoning? I mean, it can be really, really horrible, can't it? I mean, it can be really dangerous. Really dangerous. What was the
So I'm
story?
just burning. My coffee was so hot. It's burning. You know when you take a gulp, it's burning all down my... Oh, it's okay. You carry on talking.
That's all right.
I'm just in mild agony.
Yeah.
Get some cold water.
Are you all on holiday? We're having a break, absolutely. Hope you're feeling better. Thank you very much. Not with oysters, but it is awful, isn't it? As a friend of ours was just saying, it's the double-ended barrel, isn't it? It's the not knowing which end to put where. It's horrendous. But someone said on my Instagram that apparently if you get poisoned by oysters, you can find that you have a sensitivity to being poisoned by all fish. Apparently it sort of compromises your...
Yeah, you have to be really careful.
Your fish firewall.
Consumption.
Yeah, your firewall against fish is useless. Have you ever been poisoned? Do you want to share the story when I got poisoned in Cornwall?
I did in... it was like the first time I think we'd ever been to Spain. Yeah, my dad... Oh, it's what I was talking about the other day on the podcast, wasn't it? My dad did this film out in Spain. And I was probably about 9. It's with Sean Connery. Oh, my God. And I fell in love with Sean Connery. I was convinced I was going to marry him.
She was 6.
Yeah, and we all went out for this meal.
Oysters look like snot, Dawn Clary.
And I was so ill from this paella.
Oh, really?
And then I couldn't eat any shellfish for years because I would be so ill. And then one day I had some crab paste and everything was all right.
Crab paste? There's probably no crab in it, is there? It's like fish sticks.
But it gave me the confidence to then have other stuff. Well, I've had crab paste.
Well, if I'm really honest, I've kind of come out of retirement with oysters only in recent weeks because we went to somewhere for lunch in central London, and these were really, really
Fresh
tasty.
off the boat.
I don't think there was anything wrong with the oysters. I think it was an intolerance, or I don't know. I mean, I don't know how it works. I don't know whether you can have a good oyster and still have a reaction.
Yeah, you can.
You can. So my body just couldn't cope at all. Sabrina Neal, Mark, you look really healthy and relaxed, which is lovely. Everyone said I looked like I had a suntan yesterday.
Yeah, you did. Can we write down Jen Legs?
I haven't got a pen, darling.
Oh, hang on. Oh, I'll get one. Just hold them.
I've got one.
Jen Legs, was it you and your son? Let's go back. Because it's her birthday. We're going to sing happy birthdays at the end, my lovelies.
Yeah.
Jen Legs. Yeah, Jen Legs. It was mine and my son's birthday. Give us your son's name and we'll sing it at the end.
Oh, you were Leggy Blonde Jen.
Yeah, you've changed yourself.
Jen Legs, happy birthday. What was I going to say? Yeah, but there was a time in the past where...
Mrs. Downs just said you look really slim, Mark.
Oh, thank you very
Isn't
much.
That just one of the nicest
That's lovely.
things?
One of our friends was saying to me today that unless you've shat yourself in a bath...
Mark!
Hang on, I didn't say it. Unless you've shut yourself in a bath in front of your partner, you know, the relationship isn't fully fledged. You know you're in a relationship. You know you're in a strong relationship when you can watch your partner in a terrible state. And I quickly said, well, that wasn't the case for Nadia when we were in Cornwall that time. You wanted to divorce me, didn't you?
Yeah, but that's because you were vile.
I was dying.
No, you were just, he was, you know how men get so angry when they're ill? And I was like, literally, he was behind the door and I was going, okay, so tell me what does it feel like? Because I was giving him homeopathy and you need the details of the symptoms. And he's going, I don't know. All I know is I'm fucking dying.
Can I just just say, when you are exploding from both ends, and someone
Okay,
says,
this is enough now.
No,
It's
no,
quite
no,
a
no,
disgusting
and then
chat.
someone says, and then someone keeps saying to you, understandably from a kind place. So, would you say, in a very calm way, would you say which is the predominant illness? Are you feeling it in the head? You don't want to talk rationally. You're preventing annihilation of a bathroom.
Hello, Gemma Johnson. Hello, Nicholas Straw. Hello, everybody.
Oh, Mrs. P, having a really shit time with life at the moment, watching lots of your vlogs to cheer me up. Well, we're shooting vloggy stuff here, so that'll be fun. You'll have a bit of a laugh there. Though not much has happened because I've been ill. I mean, not a lot's happened.
Yeah, look, I'm eating my breakfast, say some
Oh,
people.
I'm sorry.
It's going to stop now.
I'm sorry. Where's your
Because you know what I'm like? I'm really funny about people talking about stuff
apart
like
from
that
when
I'm
you talk
eating.
about it?
When I'm eating.
Yeah, but apart from when you talk about
Hello,
it.
eating.
Okay, so what do you want to talk about today, Nads?
Right, okay. I want to talk about quite a few
Barbaric
things.
device to lose a stone in 2 weeks.
Yeah, I want to talk about that.
I want to talk about Chris Whitty.
And I really, really want to talk about Chris Whitty.
Really want to talk
because
about Chris
that really
Whitty.
broke my heart. Whatever anyone might think of Chris Whitty, you know, to be attacked like that. And the film, I don't know if you've seen it, two absolute thugs
Morons.
get hold of him. And you could see, because I bet Chris got bullied at school as well. And you
Yeah.
could see him just taken back to that. Oh, and it really upset me.
Yeah, well, we'll talk. No, it really upset me. But tell us about this barbaric device to lose a stone in 2 weeks.
Okay, so this device is called a dental slim device. And basically, it's quite a small little thing. You remember in the 80s, people used to have all their teeth wired together and, you know, it was terrible. In fact, I know a cousin of mine that had it done, and people would get to the point where they were smishing food through the wiring just to try and eat. But anyway, it's basically that, but in a new contemporary invention to try and look like it's not as barbaric as it is. So basically, it's a device that goes on the back of the teeth here, and it's 2 magnets, has to be fitted by a dentist, and it locks the jaw shut.
Right.
Well, it allows 2 millimeters.
Pleasure, Stuart.
You've got 2 millimeters gap. Apparently, it can be removed for emergencies. But basically, it's to encourage people to stay on a liquid diet for 14, and they lose a stone. They're kind of promising that you lose a stone in 14 days. Well, of course, that will depend how big you are.
And so this is by sheer prevention of food being able
Just
to go into
only
your
a
body.
liquid diet.
Is it a little bit like a gastric band, but in the mouth?
Well, it is. It's like a temporary gastric band, isn't it? Which a gastric band can be, take it because you can take it off. But
Right.
I mean, eating.
That sounds medieval.
It is medieval, but eating disorder charities are going quite rightly batshit crazy about this. And it really upset me and angered me today, because I'm always trying to bang on about the fact that people don't understand why people overeat. I'm an overeater.
Yeah.
I struggle with it. I use food as a way to quell my emotions. I use it as a way to shut myself off if I'm sad, if I'm angry, if I'm stressed, and the fact that people are just thought of as greedy or lazy or all of the other names that are given to people that struggle with their weight. And that simply all you have to do is wire these dreadful people's mouths together to stop them stuffing their
Morning,
face.
Jenny man.
I think is barbaric. Now, the argument is that, and I do kind of get this argument, the argument is that somebody that's really struggling to lose weight, because you know how difficult it is. I'm quite up for a quick loss of weight at
I was
the
going to say,
beginning.
is it not like a short, sharp shock to get you going?
Yeah, so the idea is it encourages you. So you
Yes.
think, oh, well, I've lost 2 stones, so
Yeah.
I'm going to carry. But how are you going to maintain that?
Yeah, but-
how are you, if you are somebody that is a major overeater and is using, what comes alongside with it? Is there any therapies? It takes enormous
talking
support to
therapy to run alongside
maintain
it.
it.
But can I just say, it's interesting that you should say that, because if I'm thinking about it seriously, I have to enact total abstinence in order to get a diet going, or to get a weight loss period going, or to get me back on board. If I actually think about it, I think it would work for someone like me. Weirdly. Because I think it would be a start, as long as it's not a fixed thing. I mean, of course, as a recovering addict, I totally understand that there's an emotional contingent. As a long-term solution, no. but maybe as a short-term, sort of almost a short-term, what's it called when you go into rehab and when you come off alcohol? What's it called when you're coming off alcohol? You know, when what's it called, guys? When you're coming off alcohol, you're kind of detox. It's like an almost physically enforced detox.
So what happens when you take them off?
Well, no, I'm not.
Like
yes,
if you
at
think
that
about
point,
when
I
you
think
go
you have
on-
to slide in with talking therapy
When you go
and
on an
everything else.
extreme diet,
I'm not suggesting it's a good
and you
thing.
know, we've all done it, haven't we? Right, I'm going to go on this grapefruit and boiled egg diet. I'm not going to have any carbs. I'm not going to have anything. Disaster.
Yeah.
Because you do it for a bit and then you go batshit crazy and you stuff everything.
Yeah.
It's like you know, dry January.
Just eat
How ma-
oysters, says Jackie.
How many people do dry January, don't drink, and then come fucking the day before February,
Oh,
they're
I
all out
agree.
getting absolutely
Oh, I
pissed?
totally agree. Well, interestingly, Nicola S says, won't it turn people to alcohol? And I know you're saying that in a sort of
Oh,
throwaway
I'm so
fashion.
glad you brought that
but
up.
this is something you've talked about with gastric bands as well, isn't
Well,
it?
gastric bands and what's the other one where you actually have part of your stomach taken out?
Yeah.
They've seen a really big increase in alcoholism with people with it's not the gastric band, the other one that's much more extreme, where the stomach is actually taken out, never to go back. And of course, if you've been using food, gastric bypass, yeah. If you've been using food to suppress your emotions, to deal with your sadness, your loneliness, your self-loathing, and then that drug is taken away, food. I've seen this happen to a couple of people that I know actually. The drink comes out. Now, that's so dangerous because you've got a much smaller stomach, so you're not getting all the vitamins and minerals that you need. And then you're having calories in the alcohol. So I just think it sets us back. So it sets us so far back in the movement of trying to get people to understand that people that overeat aren't just greedy bastards. There's something else going on.
Tracy Golden says it takes 30 days to change a habit, so I'm 100% for this idea. I think there might be something in it though for some people. I think.
Oh yeah.
Who's developed this technology and who's promoting it? Doctors, GPs, or is it just something that's been developed? Is it something that's going to be feasibly used on the NHS, or I mean, is it seen as a solution by someone?
I don't know. It didn't say.
Rachel Louise, it's restriction. Whenever you restrict, it leads to a binge. You're absolutely right. I mean, there's a similar thing with alcohol where you can take tablets that essentially theoretically remove your passion or desire to drink alcohol, but of course you're not having your part of your physicality restricted.
I don't know if any of you follow Emily Clarkson. Just to warn you, this is quite a shocking picture. This is Emily Clarkson. She is a influencer. She's Jeremy Clarkson's daughter, actually. She had a horrendous. She's been through absolute horrors through lockdown because her jaw was actually broken, and she had to have her jaw wired together so that she could, so that her jaw could be fixed. She said it was hell on earth. It was the single most traumatizing thing I've ever been through. I was starving. I was scared. I was claustrophobic. I was terrified totally that I would choke. I syringed liquid and my mum worked really hard to ensure I had enough nutrition. And I grew to hate eating, right? I hated how it was all blended and couldn't be around anyone eating normal food. And as a result, I isolated myself completely. I wouldn't sit at the table with my family for weeks. It was barbaric, but necessary because my jaw had broken and reset because of problems with her airways. So that was the reason she had it done. She said, but during this time, unsurprisingly, there were comments made about how at least I would lose weight. Said to me with a smile and a hint of envy. That'll make it worth it, they implied. It didn't. Nothing could have made it worth it. And I was struck by the extraordinary way we view weight loss in this society. Something to aspire to, irregardless of health, mental or physical. The mental effects that this process had on me were catastrophic.
And she had one of these.
She had to have her jaw wired together so she could only eat a liquid diet, but it's because she's broken her jaw.
Sure.
So what she's trying to say is, do not underestimate. So if you're somebody that leans towards a fucked up relationship with food, right? Then as she says there, she couldn't even bear to be around people that ate. She isolated herself. What is that going to do to your mental health? And to just be talking like this and moving around like this, I think it's absolutely.
Well, I thought one of the interesting things
horrific.
she said there was claustrophobia. If you think about the idea that you've actually got your mouth closed, and
can't
Holly
scream.
was just saying it's incredibly dangerous if you suddenly felt sick, and not yawning properly affects sleep. I I mean, I'd have thought going to sleep with your mouth, if you know you can't open your mouth, can you open your mouth at all?
How would you be sick?
I'd feel so, what if you struggle
Oh
to
my
breathe?
God, I hadn't thought of that, Ollie.
Yeah. I mean, it's
And
it's
if you're
barbaric.
not eating and you drink more alcohol and you go to bed and you go to sleep,
I mean, how
don't think it
feasible is
should
this
be
suggestion?
I'm really fucking annoyed about
it sounds
this.
like something-
It's going to be a thing.
What, on the NHS?
I don't know if it's going to be on the NHS. Let me
God.
find the article again.
I mean, again, once again, it's one of those tactics that often we look at trying to find solutions to endemic problems like obesity and alcoholism and all this kind of stuff. And we try and solve the sort of the symptom rather than the cause. Do you know what I mean? You try and solve the how it presents to you rather than actually getting mucky. The hard work. You know, most things to change require a bit of hard work, you know, whether it be
And some
self-analysis or
understanding.
whatever.
Oh,
Yeah.
dear God. I think it's still...
People will choke to death, says Lucy Williams.
But, you know,
I think
it
they
used
will.
to be quite a popular thing in the 80s. I mean, people used to do it quite regularly. But, you know, there's all that Faith said there. Her friend had it done
Yeah.
in the 80s. And she just mulched up chocolate and squeezed it through the...
Good God.
And didn't lose the weight, but had the horror of having her mouth
Good
jawed.
God.
So,
Yeah.
you know, when this... I don't think it's available yet, but when it does become available, I would really urge people to go on a different route. Really.
Good God.
That's not to say that I'm not completely against, because I know it works for some people. Denise really is passionate about this. Denise Welsh, she said, you know, she went on a liquid diet to lose weight, and she's kept it off because she said it gave her that. But so, you know, for some people do things in their own way, don't they? But I just think's dangerous.
Okay, well there you go. That is what kicked England v Germany off the title. Just letting you know that.
Well, because people mustn't choke to death.
No,
As
I
Ollie said,
agree.
people can choke to death.
No, I agree. But England v Germany, I'm going to have a chat about that in a bit. And Chris Whitty, disgusting harassment. Now, I just want to qualify this a little bit. Someone did say on the, he was harassed. It was argy-bargy, he was manhandled and he was pushed about and he looked distressed. And in a sense, that's all that matters. But by all accounts, they were asking for a selfie. But you don't go about it like this.
No, but
And
he was pulling. They
you-
had
they
their
were-
arms.
no.
You couldn't get out from underneath.
And I
them.
think the part of it that I found particularly distressing was precisely what you said, Nadia, which was you saw the child, Whitty, sort of looking vulnerable and looking, you know. Now, I think it's a
They weren't calling him a
dereliction
liar.
of duty, that these major sort of health specialist scientists don't have some kind of security
This is what they're all saying.
service around them. Now, Boris Johnson has come out saying it's absolutely, you know, it's absolutely awful, absolutely terrible. Well, then give them some security personnel to look after
He
them.
did look scared, Stuart.
He did look
He
scared.
looked really scared. And apparently they was calling him a liar. I mean, it was an aggressive,
Yeah.
you know, come on in,
Yeah.
let's have a selfie. It's very different. Like, oh, can we have a selfie,
But
mate?
the same
And
thing
it
happened to
was
Jonathan. The same thing happened to Jonathan Van Tam
Yeah.
about 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So you know, and again, it goes back to this thing that we've talked a little bit about in these lives, which is this real rift and split down the centre of this country, a little bit like Brexit, of fury. Now, obviously, there was the rage and the fury, and your rage the last week has been about the total hypocrisy of government ministers and government action and the haves and have-nots and all that kind of stuff. That's one thing. But at the same time, when you get to people like Whitty and Valance and all the other specialists, whether you agree with them or don't agree with them, they are all trying essentially to work for the better good of the country. You might disagree with their statistics, there may be different opinions on the science, what have you. But actually, they're doing quite a complex job. And I just think it's just really sad
I
to
just
see them
think it
treated with
doesn't
such
matter
disrespect.
who you are. Nobody should be treated like that by anybody. It's just disgusting. It's just thuggish behaviour, and it's reprehensible.
Were they
utterly.
shouting liar? They were saying, oi,
Yeah,
oi,
that's,
one
but
photo,
I saw
please.
somewhere it said that they were alive. But the police said we've spoken to them. I think they're just speaking to them, and that's it.
Yeah.
I suppose it is difficult to do anything about it, but
But, you know, it does worry me. It does. And, you know, do you remember the terrible, terrible circumstances with Jo Cox? And I believe it's her, is it Jo Cox,
Yeah.
the politician? And I think that's the by-election, isn't it? You know, have we not learnt from that? That, you know, it doesn't take many of these incidents to leave someone really potentially quite vulnerable.
yeah.
So my heart goes out to Chris Whitty there.
He just looked
It's
really
bullying.
scared. I
Yeah.
just hate any kind of
Last
bullying.
week, Jonathan Van Tam, England's Deputy Chief Medical Officer, was verbally abused by an anti-lockdown protester as he walked into a government building. Yeah, I mean, you can't, I suppose verbal abuse, you can't stop people from shouting, can
Yeah.
you?
I mean, I just feel at the moment it's just there's so much anger, there's so much frustration, there's so much distress everywhere. I mean, you've got those people are a thug, whatever, aren't they? You can see that, like, to do that and to not know that man was scared is just disgusting. But, you know, it's like we've spoken about this over the whole of the pandemic. The mental health of the nation is not good.
No.
It is not good. And I find it more and more scary every time we go out.
I didn't realise, sorry.
Yeah, it's nice being out of London. We actually said, oh my God, when we realised how stressful it's been, anyone living in a city through the pandemic, it's so stressful, isn't it? Everyone's on the edge of their bloody nerves. Actually, you know, if you live in the countryside, if you live by the sea, if you live out of, God, you know, I have to say I'm a bit envious.
I suppose the flip side of that is you don't have as direct access to emergency services and things like that, do you?
And big hospitals.
Big hospitals and all that sort of stuff. So another story that was kind of bubbling around this morning was, I was shocked this morning about two things. I didn't realise 250,000 pupils missed school this month due to COVID-related problems. That's a huge number.
Listen, this is just getting absolutely ridiculous. Mark and I were talking about this morning. You know, our kids have been homemade for years, but I was actually thinking about, if you've got a job, right, you've both got a job, or if you're a single parent or if you're a two-parent household,
and your kids,
and you've got kids in different schools,
yeah.
How the hell is this working for people? And you know what really fucking annoys me about this? Do you remember at the beginning of the pandemic, we were constantly told that children don't spread this? How they knew that, I don't know. How did they know that children didn't spread it when every time children went back to school, the infection rates went up? But we had to buy it. That's what they told us. And now, of this end of it all, they're suddenly stopping kids going to school like every 5 minutes.
Yeah.
What's that like? Is there anyone here who's constantly having that with the kids sent home from school? And how does that work? I don't even know. Do employers have to still pay parents?
I don't know.
That's
a good question.
I mean, have the government covered people's wages with that?
Ellen, my girls and me on day 9 of 10 of isolating. It's affected them badly this time. I'm currently self-isolating. It's so tough. Probably won't get paid. Sue Gilbert.
You won't get paid.
Christine Bet. I see your country. Oh, sorry, that's something else, Christine. RM's Jams. Kids have found a way to hack a COVID test and make it a fake positive to stay off school. You're joking. You're joking. My alone time is for everyone's safety. My son has been isolated 3 times since September because he's come into contact. I sat beside someone with it. He's never had it, but had to isolate. Plus, we had a lockdown in that, and I don't get paid. There we go.
My God.
That goes to the heart of it. That goes to the absolute heart of it.
Oh, my God. That's literally making life completely impossible,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Becky Brumfield. Thank God I homemade my daughter. It would affect her anxiety being sent home all the time. And just disrupts and kind of, interferes with the flow of things. It's just terrible. Courtney C. Both my parents work in schools. I live with my 2 sisters. I've been working from home and never have I been at home alone. Always someone at home told to isolate since January.
Jesus Christ. And the thing is, it doesn't make any sense. I was listening to LBC the other week, and this guy was saying, here I am again. My 4-year-old has been sent home from nursery because there's somebody in the nursery that's got COVID. He said, I'm still going to work. My other kids are in another school, are still going to school. So where is the sense in that? Because they're still going out. If she's got to be so careful and she's 4.
Yeah, absolutely. The other story that kind of came out of the whole school thing, can I just ask this question quickly? Why are children allowed phones at school or in classes? Because this kind of folded out of this conversation that was on the radio this morning. Why? I mean, I don't understand how it's even a question. I don't understand. Do you think kids should have phones? And I understand about out of class so that you can get home, contacting parents, all that kind of malarkey. But I literally don't. It's like everyone talks about it like it's a God-given right to have a phone in a class and it shouldn't be ever interfered with. I remember doing a story years ago for a documentary called Classrooms at War where we were talking about mobile phones in classes. And this was about 18 years ago. And back then, it was like, no, of course not. It shouldn't happen. How did we get into this creep where you don't have a box popped at the front of the class and you chuck them all in? It's absolutely staggering that the government doesn't actually say, this is policy.
It's like a friend of mine. She was at parents' evening and the teacher said, the real problem with your son is he keeps looking at his phone all the way through the class. And my friend said, well, why don't you take the phone off him.
Yeah.
And she said, we're trying to teach them to be responsible for themselves. She goes, listen, I'm giving you the permission to take the phone
And also,
off
you
him.
don't hand that responsibility to most kids because they won't take that responsibility.
they
And that doesn't
won't.
mean they're
Because
bad kids. It's
the
wouldn't.
headmistress of Alain School has come out today and said basically they're as addictive as crack cocaine.
Yeah.
And
It's
I
stricter.
actually don't completely disagree with her on that. I mean, we're all addicted. We're as addicted to our
No, but
phones
it
as
is
our kids.
stricter in cinemas and theatres than it is in a school. And a school is a place of learning. It seems odd that you have such sort
weird.
of strict rules.
Why can't they just have a box in the teacher's
Front-
desk
yeah, the front of the class.
that you put your phones in?
Yeah. And then pick them up as you go out. You can use them, but I just don't understand it. I don't even understand why. It's like they were having a debate on the radio
They're
as
saying
to
here,
whether
phone
they
isn't
should.
just a phone, it's the internet. And some teachers do say that it is a learning aid.
Yeah, but that's another excuse for the government not to fund the schools. So what? Use the smart thing. Just go back to teaching. I don't agree. I still think it's the internet. But hang on a minute. We're teaching. We're not surfing around on
I
the
think
internet.
teachers have got enough problems trying to keep. I mean, classes are bloody huge.
Oh no, I'm not
Kids
blaming
at the
the
moment.
teachers.
No,
I'm just
what I'm saying is
No, not
without
at
the
all.
added distraction of a phone.
Oh,
No,
I
I'm
see,
saying
yeah,
it's already
absolutely.
really hard to get any discipline in a class.
Yeah.
So surely it must be. But a lot of teachers have come out today and teachers' unions saying, look, this is all a distraction. Talking about the phones, schools are in dire straits. Don't be distracted.
Well, I agree about that. I agree about that.
Gavin Williamson is just trying to do something like headline grabbing. Oh, he's such a useless.
Yeah, I suppose this is something that should have just been dealt with years ago. I mean, of course, there's a structurally all sorts of issues with the education system. And of course, at the end of this coffee moaning, we finally arrive at the front page of the Sun. I know a lot of people hate the Sun, but we only ever look at it in the spirit of looking at all of the headlines. Come on, Harry, even Hancock scored.
Oh God, what's Hancock dressed as there? Down.
No, that's the Daily Star. Will England win against Germany tonight? Yes or no?
It's coming home, says Jen Legs.
Is it
It's
coming-
coming home. I love
Is it
that
coming
song.
home? Is it
I
coming
love
home?
that song.
Can we beat them?
Football's coming home.
Just to put it in
It's
context,
coming home.
France were knocked out, and that was a major upset. So it could happen. It could happen. So I'm going to somehow be watching it somewhere.
Listen, I don't know anything about
Don't
football,
care,
but the
says
one
Dawn
thing that
Torres.
I know is England are not going to win. 100%. There's no chance whatsoever. It's the hope that kills you.
You're right, but having been a Tottenham Hotspur fan all my life, the hope has killed me.
Sky Lee said she'd faint if they won.
Well, yeah, so would I. But you never know. You never know. BBC One, thank you, Amanda Roach. BBC One, I think it's at 8 o'clock, is it? Never watch football.
I
boring.
agree. Who said that? I don't like headlines like that. Not nice.
Sam
His wife,
JP,
exactly.
very,
Sam
very
JP.
fair point.
I agree.
Very, very, very fair point. Yeah, absolutely.
And what a horrible little man he was to just go straight home and say to his wife, "I'm off." Oh, can you imagine the
But
pain
so
she's
too
in?
has the other woman.
I
So too has the other
know.
woman.
I know.
Okay, well, before we get Nadia off on a who are you? Which government minister are you going to head
Well,
for
listen,
next?
Mark, I am still utterly furious with Boris.
no,
He's
I
just
know.
playing a fucking game here.
I-
He went on the Saturday, he tried to make out he'd sacked him, and then he had to rewind, go no, because he actually
please
resigned
prepare
him.
us all. Are you planning to get rid of Boris?
Well, I think I need to. What
I've
do you
got a
think?
horrible feeling. I think maybe you need to give a bit of a kicking to the Keir Starmer and the Labour leadership, though. I
I'm
think
furious
if you can
with them
find
as
them,
well.
if you can find them, where's Wally?
Where
Where's Starmer?
is Keir
Where is he?
Starmer?
Is he wearing a
Where
stripy
is
hat or
he?
top?
Where is he? Where is he? I'm sorry, and Boris, you can just imagine him, can't you? When Hancock came in, Hancock, can you believe he's called Hancock?
Oh,
I mean,
Joe
he couldn't
Gloggs,
write
thank you.
it.
5 p.m. It's 5 p.m. the match. Oh, sugar. We
God.
better get cracking.
Oh,
All right,
hang
guys.
on, birthday, happy birthday.
Oh, happy birthday, Jen Legs. We didn't see the name.
Happy birthday to Jen Legs and her son. Happy birthday to Jen Legs and her son. Happy birthday to Jen Legs and her son. Happy birthday to you.
Ruth Blandford said he's commented on YouTube.
Tom.
Who has?
Happy birthday to you.
you.
Happy birthday to you. Happy
Birthday,
birthday, dear
dear
Tom. Happy birthday to you, Tom.
Oh, I think Ruth is saying Keir commented on YouTube. Is that
On
partly?
YouTube?
But is that okay? Just to play devil's advocate quickly before we go, we have to acknowledge that most of our press is conservative leaning. So maybe, despite all their best efforts to talk, they just haven't been
No,
asked.
but come on. If you call, if the Labour of the if the leader of the opposition says, "I want to give a statement," all the press would go there. He'd stand out on the front doorstep of his house.
He does need to go out the front door.
That's what you do. He needs to come out.
Even Annie Dye said he needs to go out the front door and stand on his doorstep. He needs to take the rubbish out, and then the press will come, and then they'll talk to him. Anyway, on
Group
that note,
hug.
yep. So group hug for Xander.
Kumbaya, my lord, kumbaya. Kumbaya, my lord.
It's good to be back.
Kumbaya.
Thank you for all your messages of support.
Hit the thumbs up if you've enjoyed spending time with us. It's just below my left breast.
Oh, can I touch it?